Okay, hello. So, I think I'm gonna try something new, which is a self-podcast, and I don't know, I think I'm gonna upload this just to keep myself accountable, but basically what I'm doing is right now, I am driving home from hanging out with my two friends, Lindley and JD. Love them so bad. Love my friends. We just got back from a really epic day, and I'm gonna talk about it in a podcast style, because I think something in regards to, like, in my own internal whatever is happening, I have a hard time with emotional permanence, and so when I feel bad, I feel like there's no end in sight, and it's always been like this, and it will forever be like that. But then when I feel good, I'm like, nothing can get me down. And while I'm in the practice of journaling when things are going bad, unfortunately that just means that my journal is filled with like stress rants and anxiety and a lot of really negative emotions, and I don't really take the time out of my good days to carve out and sit down and talk about what it is that I enjoy in life. And so I think I'm going to start a little series with myself where I just kind of talk myself through both the good and the bad. I don't know if I'm going to upload it or not, we'll see, but the goal right now is to just have the internet, I guess, be an accountability partner in sort of making sure that, like, I don't worsen my own mental state by, like, ruminating on things. So I decided to document the good stuff, and today was a really, really freaking good day. Let's see. It is January 16th, 2026. I am 23 years old, currently living in San Diego, California. You can't dox me, bitch. I'm everywhere. Like, good luck. Actually, I'm not going to tempt fate like that. Never mind. But I actually left San Diego a little bit today. I drove up to Encinitas / the, like, little edge of Carlsbad because my friend Lindley is a hairstylist and a cosmetologist and offered to not only cut my hair, but also give me raccoon tails in like a bleach dye. And this is like a new trend for the time right now. It probably won't always be, but it might always be a part of me, because when she unveiled the do after it was done, oh my gosh, I looked in the mirror and I was like, I'm home. I think I need to have raccoon tails forever, no matter if they go out of style, because they are so important to me. Like, sorry to like dox myself as a furry, but I wore my raccoon tail to the appointment because I thought it would be just so fitting. So the day started off great by like me picking out a great outfit for myself. And I probably uploaded that somewhere on my socials, so that is doxable if you want to find that. It's a cute outfit. Go give it a look. If you want the haul and you want to know where I got stuff, also hit me up. I'm talking like anyone is going to listen to this. It's probably just me and like Adobe Rush, but I think that's kind of funny. So I think not only did the hair come out great, but this was the first time that I have let anyone aside from my normal cosmetologist cut my hair, and I'm always very nervous because I kind of have like an unusual hair pattern. So like the top is so heavy that it has a hard time holding any sort of texture, but then the stuff that's like near my neck that's really long is like literal ringlets. And so I've just got a lot going on with this, so I need a funky hairstyle that kind of zhuzhes and adds volume and adds layers to my face. And so going to someone new with all of these different like specifications can be kind of nerve-wracking, because I grew up, like, especially in the South, going to hair salons that they pull out the hair dryer and the round brush at the end, and then I have no idea what my hair looks like until I wash it, because that's just how texture works. So I'm always very fearful of trying someone new, but she did a phenomenal job. It looks great. I love it. I feel like me again, which is awesome. Good hair is everything, as Fleabag once said. So that was really amazing, and I felt very like cared for in her attention to detail. And like, yeah, it was a long appointment, but it's because she took her time and she cared about all of the effort and energy that she was putting into my hair, and that just means the world to me that someone would take care of me like that. Oh, how many times do you think I'm gonna cry during this episode? We're at number 1. That got me teary, the fact that someone cares. That's freaking awesome. Then number 2, another way that I felt loved is like literally the entire appointment. My friend JD, who drove an hour to be there, by the way, I didn't even drive an hour to go there and get my hair done, but an hour to be there, came and just sat and like hung out with us the whole time, and we just talked and we caught up and we talked about all the things that we normally talk about, because these are friends that like we can just yap forever, which is amazing. it's just like conversation flows between us really, really well. There was a point where in the silence, JD just goes, damn, I didn't think we were capable of being quiet for that long. And it's kind of ridiculous to say, but it's also so true because we have so much to talk about and like so many big ideas and dreams between the three of us that it's like really beautiful and amazing. And I just felt so like cared for by my community. So then after my hair appointment, which was, I want to say 3 to 4 hours. Probably. For like an intricate dye and a cut, that's really not bad. So yeah, easy peasy. I can imagine it would take longer if they were doing my whole head, which we'll burn that bridge when we get to it. But that was really awesome. So then after we went to, I think it was the Oceanside Market. I've never been before, but the way that they we summarized it was calling it like the Obi Farmer Market. Farmer market? Farmer singular. There's one guy there. It's just a stand with some carrots. I hope you like carrots. No, but it's a Obi Farmer's Market. We said that Oceanside Farmer's Market was like Ozempic OB, and I think that's very true, but it was freaking awesome. So we went, we got our parking and then went off to the market, and there were like a bunch of food stands and some shopping. I go to the OB Farmers Market to shop. I think Lindley goes to the Oceanside Market to eat. And so that was like a different experience than what I'm used to doing on my rhythm when I go, but I thought it was so much fun. And something big that I'm working on for this year is like, I don't always need to be the center of the attention, and even more important than that, I don't always need to be the one doing whatever I want to do all the time. Like, it is fun to just follow other people's lead sometimes, and so that felt like a bigger step to me because I'm kind of used to being in the driver's seat, but it was nice to be baby for the day. So I also felt very loved in that. So we each got our different stuff. I think Lindley got like a tri-tip sandwich that looked so delicious, and we saw like the meat while they were barbecuing it. I like got close to the fire because I just wanted to smell it, and it was beautiful. But I didn't think I could stomach something as heavy as steak, so I was like, okay, we'll just axe that for now. And then JD, I believe he got a hot dog. I think it was like a bratwurst. I didn't inquire on the toppings. I don't really get hot dogs with toppings, so I'm not really interested in other people, sorry. And I got a order of like teriyaki. It was like breaded shrimp, but I think it was grilled based on what the equipment that they had back there. So I don't know if it was or not. I wasn't really paying that much attention, but it was bomb as fuck. I'm always kind of wary about where I'm eating seafood just because, I don't know, that's an easy one that people can get sick from, but they did a good job. It was wonderful. I don't feel ill, so that's great. Let's see, what else did I do? After the food portion, we sat down for a while and just talked. Like, we didn't even interact with that many people, but we read each other's like astrology charts, and I used to be a big astrology hater because growing up in the church, like, you kind of cast down any spiritual beliefs that anyone else may have because it's the perspective in the church is like, when people don't turn to God, the other things that they turn to become idols, and to compare something to the love of God is, you know, not a great practice. But I think that's kind of a narrow lens to have. I like the inclusionist theory, which is that God chooses to present himself differently to different people, and that's why so many different cultures like are baseline kind of the same religion, but it's what they made out of it as humans that distinguishes it from another religion. And I think that's kind of beautiful because, yeah, why would God show up in one way to everyone? Like, that doesn't make sense. No one human experience is universal for everyone in every culture. Like, things are just different everywhere. That's so like bullshit, fake deep, like, oh, things are different for different people. That's Curtis Connor's bit. I stole that. I'm gonna steal it anyways. But it's true. Like, things are different for different people. And so with that theory, I kind of delved more into astrology. So I picked up a book called, what was it called? Oh, this is gonna kill me. It was written by Chani Nicholas, and Johnny Nichols, something like that. Something about the radical acceptance of the self through like the astrology lens. I'll look it up. But I got to learn a lot about astrology from that book, about like houses and trines and squares. So it brought a new lens to my very narrow perception of astrology previously. So we read each other's charts. We kind of, not necessarily psychoanalyze people, but we looked at people's charts and we made sense of certain actions based on like what aspect of themselves from their chart kind of aligns with something that would happen with that experience. And the way that I come to understand astrology, someone once put it like, it's not that because you were born under the celestial arrangement that you are this way and it's like a cause and effect. It's more like, in the years of human history and civilization that we have observed, people born under this celestial configuration have exhibited these traits, these characteristics. There are patterns, because, I mean, human nature is innately cyclical, and also, the moon controls the fucking tide. You think it has no bearing on you as a human? That's ridiculous. That is so, like, disconnected from nature, and touch grass, and that's all I have to say about that. So we read each other's charts, which was really fun. There are certain aspects of my chart that I'm still like kind of grappling with that I need to adjust to, but whatever. So that was fun. And then afterwards, there was a little dive bar somewhere on the main street that was like pirate themed. So we got a beer. I know in this new year, I was like, nights out with friends, I am not drinking anymore. Like, that's just not for me. But guys, a beer is awesome. A Pacifico with a lime? Dude. With a fucking lime? Yeah, we're in business, actually. And I did the tequila shot thing where I, like, bit it and then took sips because I didn't know how the shit worked. But in my defense, the lime didn't go in the top of the bottle when the bartender put it in there. Why was I supposed to assume that I could? You know what I mean? And so, I don't know. I'm just I'm baby about drinking, but it's fine. If anything, that's a good thing. I'm not an alcoholic, but yeah, I think it's probably for the better. I would be so sad if I was. Oh my goodness. But yeah, a big resolution that I have for this year is like drinking, unless it's like beer, it's probably not for me, because not only am I Asian, but after doing a year at college, my mom decided to tell me that she's allergic to vodka, and I was like, you could have told me that before. I was an 18-year-old partying with white people. Anyways, so we got a beer, we talked even more. Literally just the whole night was like conversation. We got in actually a few dances. They played Charlie, and so it was really fun, and I was the only one dancing because it was a fucking dive bar and everyone was drinking beer and like wearing a quarter zip, so it was very much not the vibe, but like I had fun shit. And yeah, we like talked to so many different people. The creatures were not as interesting as the Obi Farmar creatures, but the Oceanside ones are like kind of richer, so they were balling out with their accessories. I was very impressed. A lot of alt baddies at this one, and I felt like I belonged with them a little bit, but I also do have my own thing going on, so it's not like I'm entirely goth. That's something that I'm still figuring out. It was so funny. We sat down to eat our food, and there was this like duo of people next to us, and they just had a really cool vibe. Like, you could tell they were some cool motherfuckers. They were asking me, they were like, do you usually have like an alt style? And I was like, I don't even know if that's a question for me. So I looked at JD and Lindley and I was like, guys, like, what's my usual style? And they were like, it changes every time you show up. And I was like, you know what? That is what I like to hear. Because yes, a bitch is an outfit repeater, but also if a bitch has enough accessories, you don't have to be. And so, yeah, I'm all about like micro tweaks and outfits and working out what the vibe is. I curate outfits months in advance because I find pieces that I'm like, this would be great for this occasion. Love thrifting. Shout out to all my favorite thrifts that I'm gonna gatekeep, actually, because please don't take my clothes. No, I'm kidding. But yeah, that was really fun. And so after we got a beer, they were like, do you want to walk to the ocean? And I was like, hell yeah. Turns out Oceanside, there's like a million fucking stairs. It's not as bad as LA, and it's not as bad as like the cliffs in either like La Jolla, Torrey Pines area. Like, those can be some steep fucking staircases, but this wasn't that. But I was also like, man, I just had a beer, I don't really want to walk some stairs, but it's for the moment, it's for the culture. So then we go down to the ocean, and what do we find on this like platform stage area that they have on the shore? These people who are like doing flow with fire torches and fire fans and hula hoops and like all sorts of really fun ravey aligned like hobbying things, and I was so excited. So I was like, oh my god, let's go watch. We sat down, and then we were sitting kind of towards the back, and I was like, guys, this is not the vibe. It's so empty here. Can we be at the front? So then we went down to the second row, and as we're sitting closer, who do I spy other than a little red-haired diva who's on my Instagram right now as Miss Chapel Moan? Miss Tanya was there, and she was there to flow with her group, and I was like, oh my god, no fucking way. So I stand up and I go, Tanya? And she's not wearing her glasses, so she can't see me, but she welcomes me anyways, because that's just Tanya's vibe. She is that girl. She is so sweet, so kind. Every time I see her, I'm like, she's just like that. Like, it's not fake. There's nothing else hiding underneath. Like, she's not evil. She's just genuinely such a cool person. It's so awesome, so refreshing, so real. Like, love her to death. She's a little rave baddie. She does all sorts of like flow arts. Follow her. I think it's like Tonk Flows or something like that. Super awesome girl. But she was there, and I was like, oh my god. And then they were closing up, so they were literally like packing up the entire set and supplies, and then she was like, well, I wanted to get one more set in anyway so I could show you, and started doing her fire dance, and I was in awe. And I started dancing with her because like I had a little bit of fan training from my ballet days when I did a certain Spanish piece called Psychodelia, and it was my favorite thing that I ever did. I loved having a prop, and so I was like, I want to get good enough at like hooping and flowing, that way I can do it when we rave together, because that's in the works for this year. 2026 resolution, go to a rave. I want to rave so bad, and so I am so excited. But we go, we talk, we yap for a bit. She like lets me hold the fire torch and like play with it a little bit. It was so awesome, and I had the best time. I was like, the inner child is so happy. I was like giggling and shaking my hands and like having a total moment. It was so much fun. And so that was also a moment that I just felt so loved. Is like, she didn't have to hand me her tools, her very expensive flow equipment, but she did, and thank God, because it was like one of the highlights of the night. I mean, it's so hard to pick, there were so many, but like that was awesome. And I saw the hoop against the back of the stage and thought to myself, I want to pick that up. I'm gonna go ask if they'll teach me something. And then I see it's my fucking friend, and I was like, hell yeah, dude. And JD literally said, he was like, bro knows everyone, which is funny because I don't feel like I do, but honestly, I know San Diego a little well, so I do. But that was really fun. And so after Tanya left, because she was packing up for the night and probably very tired from a performance, we decided to stay at the beach. So we went up, not fully to the water, but there was like a swing set and a playground, and so we made a really funny video. It was so ridiculous, but we were dying laughing the whole time, and that's all that matters. That's also another resolution that I have for this year, is like post more and post my friends, because my friends are very funny and interesting. I'm into this year letting people approach me instead of approaching them, because on my birthday this year, I got so many messages, and while I felt so loved, I was like, Jesus, I can't do this again. That's literally the reason why I'm like, I'm not going to approach people, I'm going to let people approach me, is because, oh, I love my friends, I love each and every single one of them, I wouldn't trade them for anything, but that was a lot of messages, that was a lot, and I've never received that many before, which is why I was like, what happened? You know, something changed. So that I think I just became an adult and like went out. Because that's my move when I go out and like someone has a good vibe. I'm like, oh my gosh, do you have Instagram? And it works every time, because I love when names and faces are in the same place at the same time. And then they're excited because we can connect, and I can see what they're up to and they can see what I'm up to, and we can be like creatures together when we run into each other again, because duh, that's how life works. It can be so harmonious and glorious. Okay, sorry, huge fucking tangent, but what were we talking about? Okay, we saw Tanya, we went and sat on the swings, yeah, we made a TikTok, very funny. What else? Dear God. I was telling myself, I was like, I'm probably not gonna edit this, I'm just gonna post it, but me sitting in silence trying to remember what the fuck I was talking about is probably something that I'm like, well, I don't know if I should, that doesn't need to go in the, yeah, that's me in the edit bay right there. And you know what, that's why it's so stressful, is because I'm like, oh, this bitch will not stop pausing. As we're making our TikTok and having the time of our life, we're like, we gotta piss, so we're gonna go back up to one of the bars. We retreated from the beach, we were like, say goodbye to the beach, went up, had a little piss time, and it was like definitely time to go, but we could all tell that like we wanted the vibe to keep going, because once we had a little bit of beer, we were like, we should be at the club. That's the danger. Like, everyone wants the friends that party, and then you get the friends that party and you're like, guys, we can't go out every time we hang out, but it would be so fun. It would be fun. No, but it was the perfect night. So literally as we're leaving, we're like, well, we don't want this to be over yet. What can we do? We start playing music, and then we all have so many songs that we want to play that Lindley, who's driving, is like, I'll just take the long way around. And what that meant is like driving up and down so many streets that we didn't need to be on, but because it was so fun and the music was so good and the vibes were so on fire, it was truly magical. Like, there were several points in that like music jam sesh where I like started sobbing low-key and would put on my sunglasses just because I felt so like, cry counter number 2, I felt so loved and grateful, and I was like, oh my god, like, this makes it all worth it just to be here in this moment, like, surrounded by love, hearing awesome music, like, vibing out, not wanting the night to end. Like, these are the days that life is all about, is when you don't want it to end. And so we drove around, we played a bunch of fun songs. I'm trying to remember, there was one called UFO, I think, that Lindley played, and it was friggin' awesome. JD played this remix of Sunshine, which is also fucking fire, and then we played my favorite song of all time right now. That'll change when I find my next favorite song, but for right now, it's called Locals, Girls Like Us by Underscores and Gabby Start, and it is like my all-time favorite. It's a hyper-pop diva, weird, kooky, like, slow build, and then the craziest, like, fucking rave mosh type beat you've ever heard, and then into a cool down after, because they know you went hard in that song. And it is my favorite. Please, please, please listen to it. You have to. Like, I am putting you on. You know why? Because I'm cooking on a film project that I don't know if I'm gonna disclose in a lot of detail, because it's good, and I know it's good, but I also don't want to, like, speak it out into the universe and screw myself in that way. But I want this song to be, I think, the ending of the movie, when the characters finally get what they want. And, you know, for better, for worse, they're gonna find out. They are. But it's gonna be a ride, and that song is like the perfect crescendo into just euphoric bliss and party. And so that's like the vibe I want to bring into the world. But then I saw Lindley had a sunroof, and I was like, we gotta open this right now. And she was like, you want to? I was like, yes, girl. Like, if a car doesn't have a sunroof, I'm not getting it. Like, that is an immediate deal breaker for me, because I love my sunroof. I use that bitch every time I go out, if it's like not freezing cold. Obviously freezing cold, I'm Californian, it's like 60, freezing cold, but it's just so nice, because like, even no matter what the season is, the weather in San Diego is so nice that you can have your sunroof open year round and just feel the sun on your face as you're heading to your destination. And that is truly like such a beautiful feeling that I want to bottle it, like, if I could, and I wouldn't sell it, I would keep it because I'm greedy, but it's just such a wonderful feeling. So she opened it for me, and I was like, we're about to get really infinite here. Shout out to Perks of Being a Wallflower. And so I have always wanted to do that moment where they just like stand out of the sunroof. Like, to me, that kind of a bliss and that feeling when you feel infinite with your friends, that, yeah, it's a little goofy on paper, but then you think about it and you feel it and you metabolize it and you're like, yeah, that's true. Like, we are infinite in this moment. And so I got to like go out of the sunroof, and it was a lifelong dream. I usually don't do it because I'm usually driving, or if I'm not driving, my friends' cars aren't suitable for something like that. They have little hatchbacks and no sunroof, so that's not really an option. Shout out Lily and Chelsea, but I got to like stand out of the sunroof just for a little bit and like listen to another song called iPod Touch, which is really good. We gotta put you on if you haven't heard it already. So gas. JD said it had Charlie vibes. I can see why he said that, but I think it's its own thing. And I know ball. I love like yassified hyperpop. because when I tell people I like hyperpop and they're like, oh, you like 100 gex, I'm like, get that frat boy shit out of my face. I want to hear underscores. I want to hear Charlie. I want to hear, like, I don't know, leaning into the hard style that hyperpop can be. That stuff is gorge to me. So of course I loved that song when JD sent it to me. And that was another moment that, like, I wanted to cry, because it had always been a lifelong dream, but, like, I had never done it, and then I finally got to after what was one of the most amazing days ever. And then after we had our jam sesh, we were like, let's put on some chill music, but we just could not, because the party tunes were just so good. And so we had, I mean, oh my gosh, I'm like getting emotional thinking about it. It was just really awesome. And another thing is, like, I be hopping on CoStar because I like trying to interpret whatever the fuck they are telling me and, like, what it means and how I could apply it to my life. Like, yeah, it is vague for a reason, but also sometimes it's not. Sometimes it reads you to filth. And my CoStar today said, you are love and you are loved. And I started the day really feeling rough. I kind of, had a rough beginning of the day because I just encountered a situation with one of my friends that I was feeling really anxious about. Basically, we had just had, like, a petty argument like we always do, and it wasn't anything, like, serious at the time, but one of the comments that my friend had made during the argument was actually pretty serious, because I definitely was thinking about it for, like, the almost week that I let it simmer. And so I reached out to her about it today to be like, hey, that upset me when you kind of, said that. And then I had this whole anxiety, like, freak out about it when she wasn't responding. And I knew it was probably because she was busy. She works really early in the morning, so she was probably exhausted, and I get that. But I was also like, oh my gosh, like, I sent kind of a risky text. I hope she doesn't hate me. And then she obviously, like, she's such a good friend. She apologized. She acknowledged my feelings. Like, she definitely didn't mean it. It just kind of, slipped out, and I don't hold it against her at all, but it definitely kind of hurt me. And, like, if I didn't address it, it probably would have festered into something ugly, and I don't want that for our friendship, because I love and respect her so much. And so because I was so anxious about that, like, going into my hair appointment at the beginning of the day, I was so nervous, and I just felt awful, and I felt weird, and I was worried that, like, that feeling was going to stay with me the whole time I was hanging out with my friends, but luckily it didn't. And two things come to mind with that. The first being, I have Instagram Reels Induced Psychosis. Hear me out. There was this lady on there who said, when your heart is pounding, thumping, going crazy, think of it not as, like, I'm on the verge of a panic attack, but think of it instead as your heart is applauding you for what you're about to do or say, or what you have done or said. And it seems kind of silly maybe, but that just really resonated with me, because I was like, yeah, the heart racing thing doesn't have to be it doesn't have to be a sign that I'm going into a panic attack or I'm spiraling. Maybe it was a good decision and it needed to happen, and that conversation definitely needed to happen. So yeah, my heart was applauding. What was the second thing? The second thing was, if you've seen Oh Hello on Broadway by John Mulaney and Nick Kroll, they have an interview in the Netflix recording with Steve Martin. Oh hello, spoilers. That's so ridiculous. Something that came out in, like, 2018. No, but they have a bit where they were talking about how RKO Pictures, the old, like, movie studio from, like, early golden age, like, talkies, that's, Jesus Christ, the most, like, film fucking major bullshit I've ever said. Kill me if I ever say anything like that again. But they had a philosophy where if characters answered the phone, they could pick up on a down mood if the news was happy, and if you answered the phone happy, the news was going to be sad. And so that got me thinking about today, because it's a very common thing in film. Your characters start one way, they have to end another. And so I think it was a good omen that, like, I started off kind of rough and then I ended really, really happy, because that arc, that is life, that is story, that is character, that is, art imitates life and vice versa, based on, if you're a media lover. And So I just think, like, yeah, it was kind of a rough start, but it grew into something beautiful, and I had to give myself some place to go and grow, because if I started the day happy, then, like, how much better could it have gotten? I don't know. But it was really, really fun, and I had a great day, and I am home now, so I'm gonna say goodbye. But yeah, I think this is the beginning of, like, my self journey, and something I can do to sort of better take care of myself, I think, because I don't know, I'm so used to, like, taking care of other people, and I'm not so good at taking care of myself. I don't know why. It's so much harder for me, but, like, it's a lot easier to care for other people if you know the body hacks. But I don't know. That's something that, like, I'm learning how to do now, and I feel like talking to myself out loud always helps, and I only have a therapist once a week, so I guess I gotta talk to myself. And now I get to talk to you. So, yeah, let's talk.